Good morning. This is Ebert here at Brent Bible's farm just south of Romney, Indiana. We're here today at an event that's sponsored today by the Indiana Corn Growers Association and the Indiana Soybean Alliance membership and policy organizations to have Senator Todd Young come today and speak to what's going on in agriculture and certainly to address some of the issues on water quality and nutrient management. I'm standing here in front of a cornfield that for most of you here in the state looks pretty darn good. In speaking to our directors from both the Soybean Alliance and the Corn Marketing Council, these directors are scattered across the state of Indiana, representing all Indiana farmers in both of the checkoff organizations. They've indicated that this kind of crop condition that we see here today is unique. As I've traveled the state myself here in the last 3 weeks, also coming back on a flight from Chicago yesterday evening where I could still see the fields and the conditions. Certainly we're going to be challenged this year to produce the quantity of corn and soybeans that we need for our feeding industry with the livestock, also with the processing businesses that we have here in the state, and again for our export customers and markets as well. And so when we look at the crop conditions, obviously corn has a wide variety of condition right now. Obviously we've got corn that's been planted here within the last 3 weeks, and we have corn like I'm standing in front of now that actually is off to a relatively good start, particularly for this year. Here we are standing in the soybean field, which is literally right across the road from the cornfield that looks decent for this year for sure. And as you can see, we've got a very spotty nature. Again, we're on headlands, so it's not totally representative of what we see in this field, but certainly the smallness of the beans are being reflected in the emergence data and also the crop conditions data that USDA puts out every week in the crop progress report.
My name's Brent Bible, and myself and my partner Brandon Mosley, we operate a farming operation in west central Indiana. We farm in Tippecanoe, Montgomery, and Clinton counties. Planting was a challenge this year, certainly the most challenging spring season that we have ever experienced, and I think that's the case for many others as well. We started planting in May, and it was about the middle of May was the earliest we were able to start planting, and then that went on sporadically in between rains until about the third week of June. No one that I have talked to, and I have friends across the state, no one I have talked to has said we have an excellent crop and we're very excited about it. At best, people are hopeful for an average crop. Many of the people I talk to have at least part of their portfolio in prevent plant acres. Part of their portfolio is beans that were planted toward the end of June that are just now a few inches high.
I'm Kirsten Gable, farmer with my mother and father here, southwest Tippecanoe County, kind of west of Romney and spread out southern half of the county. This will be my 4th year farming full-time with my family. We usually try to get started in the middle of April. That was not an option at all. We couldn't do anything. So we kind of just waited around, did about every other little job we could think of, waiting to get into the field until about mid to late May. That's usually when we're finishing up planting. So we got in a few days in, got about 20% of the acres covered in May. And then we were out of the fields for another 2 weeks or so. And then we did 80% of our acres 1 week in June. We did about there's about 6 days there where we did 18-hour days. So we would shut the planters off at about 1:30 or 2, go home, sleep, eat something, and get back out there about 7 a.m. the next day. And it's not ideal, but that's what we had to do.
My name is Scott Odle. I live here in Montgomery County, which is county seat is Crawfordsville, Indiana. We farm on the north edge, about 25 miles south of Purdue University. We're having a tough time getting crops moving very quickly. Our first plant date was June the 3rd. We put in about 40% of our crops that week, and then finished planting soybeans about June the 18th and 20th. And as of 3 days ago, we are still replanting some of the wet spots. No matter how relaxed you can be today about how things look, you're concerned about the tail end of harvest, and are we going to work through Christmas, and what does this fall look like, and how do we prepare, and those kind of things.
I think right now, and really going through this summer, I think that the most important thing that Indiana corn and Indiana soybean can do is communicate how dire of a situation that it appears that we're in today.
You guys are, well, it seems like you're kind of our voice to higher ups, doing things to, give us better opportunities to get higher, prices and whatnot for our operations, because we all got to work together.
We were here today with Indiana State Corn Association, Indiana Soybean Association, and heard some optimistic news, and we're excited. I guess I'm excited that agriculture will continue to be watched. It's very important to the state, and I'm just encouraged that if we're having a hard time, not only because of the conditions outside, but the conditions in trade and things like that will be taken care of. We just got to stay in touch with them and have them continue to be our eyes and ears for what's going on. And they want to hear from you as much as that we want to hear from them. So just continue to communicate with them.